And from the border of liberty and prosperity in the highway to the north, this is Safety Wars for Monday, July. Where did that June come from? July 22nd, 2024. How's everybody doing out there? All right, a lot has happened since the last time we were here. And let's see. Hold on here. All right, I think we got noise in here. A lot going on out there. So, very frustrating here. Stuff that's supposed to be playing. Oh. Okay, I think that's what we got here. Okay. Now, I mean, a lot's happened here in the last, they're saying 9 days and probably longer than that. Let's see. We had a cyber outage. They're not calling it an attack. I find that hard to believe. Just don't know. They have to do an investigation on that one. We had an assassination attempt against President Trump, and apparently a lot of people don't like it that I'm saying that we should all get along. Got loads of comments on that. Number 3 is we had President Joe Biden drop out of the presidential race yesterday. A lot of conspiracy theories going on around that. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you folks on any of this stuff. Just that everybody's got to calm down. And let me point out, in case this did not come across as streamers or anything, we are, no, everyone's innocent until proven guilty and everything else. Now, the last program we had, we talked about the presidential attempted assassination of former President Trump. All right. And again, I'm going to stand by what I said. When you're faced with a disaster, what do you need to do? A couple of things you need to do. A lot of things you need to do. But one of the big things is with the hold on here. I think we found the issue here. One of the things is you need to, everything seems to reset because of last Friday, what happened here. So let's put on this. All right. So one of the things, sorry about that, folks. We'll edit this later on. This is what we know. This is what we don't know. This is what we're trying to find out. And this is who I am. 3 things. Right? That's where people run into issues all the time. And that's the long and short of it. When you start talking and you keep talking again and again and again and again, as the head of Secret Service finds out, and there's multiple sources out there, and because of these things nowadays, the smartphones, there's video everywhere. As I remind everybody, video is all over the place. Right? You cannot go around saying things. Hold on. Get back together here. I'm sorry. No. There's video all over the place. Here, everywhere there's video. You have to assume that you're being recorded. You have to assume you're being looked at. One project I'm on, there's not 1 square inch of that facility other than the bathroom that is not under some type of video or audio surveillance. So what you end up having here is everything has to be, you have to watch out what you're saying and get all the information and everything else, because right now we're getting all different competing theories. The local police were told about the shooter 20 minutes ahead of time, a half an hour ahead of time. People watching doing this, doing that. We informed the Secret Service. The Secret Service did not tell the former president. The former president says, well, had he known, he would have delayed going up. All of this stuff. All right. And it muddies the waters. This is the stuff of conspiracy theories, because you're not you're getting all these competing theories out here. Now, the second thing is this. Cyber attack last week. On Friday, where I was at least, I don't know about anywhere else, no internet access. We had to work on one job. We work off of a wireless system. I won't advertise for it, but it's one that you've all heard of. Down. I don't think it was down. It was just exceedingly slow. I felt like it was 1997 again, 1998 with dial-up rates. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't support Smartsheet. We couldn't support any web-based applications. However, the phones work, but nothing else. So if I wanted to access a program on this, no issue. I wanted to, no, hold on. Hold on, everything updated. I mean everything. Even getting onto here, everything updated. So, anyway, the all right. So, yeah, we're not on Safety FM. We're doing this live. I'm sorry, folks. But what this whole what the whole thing was, nothing. Now, what's safety defined as? Capacity and resilience. Your ability to do stuff, to recover. Safety, on one hand, is what? Safety is capacity. It's not zero accidents, zero illnesses, or anything else. It's nothing like that. And again, I mean, it's ridiculous, basically, what we went through on Friday. One program, one place, right? And now everything else goes kaplooey. I mean, the Starbucks in town didn't work. Dick's Sporting Goods, they were working off of the app, where you had to go into the app to buy something. And then you had to say, pick up that store. And then they had to wait for an email. And I mean, they're doing the yeoman's work. Everybody's doing the best that they can, including us here, doing the best that we can under weird circumstances. But my question is this: how the hell did we get to a point in our society where one person or one situation, everything goes to Guvno? I have a problem with it. I hope everybody else has a problem with it. We're getting to the point where people are using AI so much, and I mean the retail people and everything. Who are the retail people? They're not evil people. Nobody's evil here. They're younger people, usually college students or right out of college. The managers are older, obviously. All right. They're so used to using these freaking things here, cell phones, smartphones, that they can't think for themselves sometimes. I said to the manager, why aren't you taking cash? I said, well, we can't really do that, Jimmy. Can't do it. Sorry. Can't do it. Now, on a case-by-case basis, because they don't even trust anybody with cash. Anyone to write? No, that's kind of scary. Starbucks over here, again, same thing. Everything goes down. They're doing everything the best that they can. They're staying over for business. These are small business owners. small franchisees. And this just goes to show you also with safety documentation. Do you have it up in the cloud somewhere, or do you have it local on either your local hard drive or you have printouts? This is the importance why you have to have it on printouts. What are we talking about? Emergency action plans, safety plans, the recent job hazard analysis for the job if you're doing them every day. This is the advantage of paper. You're not going to have that. And there was a philosopher, recent philosopher, that commented. I heard him one time. I heard about him one time. I haven't been able to locate that. And it was like, no, we can still read stuff from the Egyptians with the hieroglyphics, ancient Sanskrit, right? Cuneiform writings. We can decipher a lot of this stuff. What I'm finding out is that there are a lot of civilizations that they're pre-Ice Age, they believe. And they're finding some archaeological stuff. And then they were pretty advanced pre-Ice Age, last Ice Age. Now, we have them. What's going to happen with all this electronic data? We don't have it. And how is it going to be manipulated? Right. I go back with some of the stuff I worked on in early 2003 when I was working on my master's project, which is real prescient right now with the with reporting and the quality of reporting and lack of reporting and ignorance. What's become to be known as fake news, and there was a lot of work on that fake news stuff going way back to the end of World War II with stuff. Believe it or not, that was there. So all that stuff there. Hold on. Okay. All that stuff there. Hold on. Now, a lot of stuff going on there since the end of World War II, even with the okay. Oh, we're going to be on Safety FM. All right. If you're picking up on Safety FM, I believe this is a program in progress. So Safety Wars. We're talking about the cyber outage. So now all this stuff going on and everything else out there with the cyber outage. And now we have the situation. And I believe Jayallen did a phenomenal job describing a path forward. So if you hear the Rated R Safety Show from today, phenomenal. I'm not going to rehash old ground here. But now we're into the point where now we have the Democrats are going to have an open convention with Joe Biden not being the nominee. Now everyone's going for Vice President Harris as the nominee. And let's face it, they just changed. My understanding, based on the reports, is that they changed their name on the Biden paperwork. It's no longer Biden for president or whatever the appropriate name was. It was Harris for president. So they were able to step right in and have some resilience there, and they had the framework there with, and the logistics with the fundraising, people who they networked with, and all of the 3,000 some local districts. Right, the local, which we talked about, where it's important to get involved on the county level, on the local level, in politics. So they had all that. Smart. But now we're getting some murmuring and grumblings from the people who voted in the primary that said, look, we did not vote for, regardless of who we're going to support in the end, we did not vote for any of these candidates here. And I'm not here, and there's been some murmuring. I'm not major murmuring, but some murmuring here on how are we going to fix this less than a month away here at the Democratic National Convention in August. So you have some things there. And this could be an open floor fight with everything, with the delegates voting, and then you have the super delegates going in there and everything else. I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting thing here for this. But what I want to say is this. President Biden is reported to have COVID. I hope he makes a complete and total recovery with that. No doubt. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody to be sick. I don't want or anything. All right. And and like we said with our last program with President Trump, where we had people out there who are involved in health and safety, and I'm very disappointed in a lot of my colleagues. I'm going to be honest with you. That's gleeful that President Trump was shot in the ear. I mean, that's not nice. I'm sorry, that's not good. That's not how we're going to unify. That's not the way that, right, or anything else. Not good. There's a lot of theories out there why Kamala Harris was chosen. I think the most logical reason would be the logistics of this whole thing. However, nobody else is kind of like a job that nobody wants at this point. Right now, if for this campaigning, now she was basically in the campaign mode with his right since the beginning here. Someone will argue the last 3 years. So she's in the groove and everything else. For someone to pick up the mantle at this point, or even in August, and now you're dealing, so you've got the rest of August, September, October, 2.5 months max. Under 2.5 months of campaigning, that's a tough nut to crack, as they say in the mechanical world there. I don't think it's in there. So I know I'm rambling, but what does it come down to? Jim doesn't want to see anybody sick. Jim doesn't want to see anybody hurt. Jim, right? And Safety Wars, we wish everybody well, and we need to unify. Here, we need to get along. We can't be at each other's throats constantly, at each other's throats. And it isn't going to work. All right? Here. With what we need to do. Now, I have been doing, as far as political groups that I've been involved with, I'm only involved with one, and it's an educational organization. And, they want to work with us more here, and that's something that I'm going to have to talk about with other people here to get involved. Anyway. Okay. I'm getting an echo here. Okay. Hopefully we knocked out that echo. Anyway, what else we got here? A lot of stuff going on here in the news and everything else. Again, I'm a little bit off because we're here, right? So the latest poll out here, we're talking about presidential politics. We'll talk about a poll. Quinnipiac came out with a poll, basically too close to call, 49-47. Everyone's in the margin of error. Okay, not surprising at this point. The country is 50% divided. All right. We're going to go to commercial break here. Hopefully that'll work. I don't know. And we'll get back to everybody in a minute.
Have you listened or watched the Safety War Show? It does stream live on the radio and on the streamer-emers that we have. So if you have not taken a listen to JIMPOESL and what the hell he's doing every evening with Safety Wars, I would strongly encourage you to take a view or take a listen, whichever option is available for you, and take a listen to what the hell he has going on. It will take some deep dives and some information that you might be interested in.
In an unpredictable world, one voice rises above the chaos. Meet JIMPOESL, a seasoned safety expert who's navigated through some of the most dangerous scenarios, from anthrax, explosive cleanups, disasters, and numerous environmental cleanups, and lived to tell the tale. Now, he's bringing his wealth of knowledge, insights, and experiences to you through Safety Wars. From workplace hazards to the hidden dangers in your own home, Jim covers it all. With his engaging storytelling and expert analysis, Safety Wars isn't just a podcast. It's your guide to a safer world. Join JIMPOESL and become part of the Safety Wars revolution. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts and videos. Safety Wars. Your safety is our mission.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of new promos and clips and everything coming up I've been working on when I'm not doing everything else, right? Okay, so here we have, again, let's remember, everyone's innocent until proven guilty here. Federal investigators find Franksville waste management company's inadequate safety measures led to a worker suffer severe injuries. And basically, this is where we run into issues. Depending on the kind of waste facility you're dealing with, and you're dealing with like trucks, you have fall protection issues. My experience, right? And according to, right, I got a little bit of insight on Sheldon Primus's program last week, where he had Phil Russell, who's a labor law attorney, someone who handles these OSHA issues for companies. And he said the average OSHA inspection, right, yields about, maybe 5, 6, 7 in that range citations, and a lot of them are zeros. I'm adding that a lot of them are zeros, but they're in there. You get a couple and blah blah blah. When you start to see pages and pages, that means that somebody was really a jerk at somebody got pissed off. So for example, one of my clients a couple years back, pardon me, I like rubbing my nose here, but one of my clients a couple years ago, they had a fire marshal come in, and fire marshal was a certain ethnicity, and it was the same ethnicity as the receptionist. And at that facility that they were at, they had a policy: you're only speaking English. Right? That's what their policy. I don't know if it's legal, not legal, or what. This is what we're only speaking English because people are not. Things are getting lost in the translation. So they would have an interpreter there, for example, but all of the documents are in English and everything else. Not the way I would have ran it, but this is what they had. And they went in, and the fire marshal started speaking the language with the reception system. My boss does not like foreigners. We're only allowed to speak English here. Well, what do you think happened with that fire marshal? How do you think that inspection went? Not so good. And then they were on the Gruvno list. And then the fire marshal took all of that information that they gathered, which was pretty de minimis stuff, right? And he delivered it over to OSHA. And then OSHA came in about a week later, and it was like not pretty there. They were able to appeal everything, and they negotiated everything down to like pennies on the dollar here practically in citations. But again, if you're going to act like a jerk with an inspector, it's usually not going to work out very good for you. Same thing with baseball. How often does the umpire get overturned? It happens, not very often. But if you start screaming and yelling at the umpire, hey, you're going to have a problem, and the other way around. So today, if you were following me on social media, there was a story that always comes up about a New York Boulders game from last August 19th of last year, where an umpire pushed would be the accurate thing, pushed forcefully a player, and the umpire got ejected. And people, no, it's social media. This happened, no. My wife and my family happened to be in third row, first base side, and saw this right in the front of them. And people say, well, that guy didn't hit him. He didn't. Yeah, he hit him. He pushed him, right? He made contact. And, the umpire had an attitude was what it came down to, according to eyewitnesses. I wasn't there. But again, it shows you got to keep calm. So let's go back to the right. So this was a waste thing. Right, citation 1 to item 1. Protection from falling objects. The employer did not protect employees from falling objects by implementing one or more of the following methods. So this is 1910.28. That's walking and working surfaces journal industry on there. Right. So no toe boards, no canopy structures to prevent falling objects from falling over. No barricades that could prevent things from falling over. $7,604. Citation 2, item 1. walking and working services. 4 foot or higher, you got to start putting in fall protection controls here. 63,382 with that. Citation 3, item 1, other than serious machine guarding, $0. No, some things do not have machine guarding over specifically a conveyor belt and pulley. Citation 3, item 2, again, guarding issues over a shaft, right? And there, right? $0. So that was 70,000 total on that, but there's more. On the second occasion here, we have, scrolling down, a repeat violation. Again, no audiometric testing. Apparently loud work area. And again, OSHA came in there and did their own noise monitoring, a noise survey into this facility. So when they start breaking that out, you know you're going to have a problem. That's why it's cheaper and easier to do it ahead of time. And we're talking about $63,382 for that violation. And there may be more here. Let's scroll down. Here we have a third occasion. That was a repeat, so they got him for a higher penalty. Citation 1, item 1A, lockout tagout procedures, 16,131. And then they got him for, again, another procedure on here, $0. And citation 1, item 2, periodic inspection of their procedures for lockout tagout, 16,100. This is another one. Abrasive wheels used on vertical portable grinders were not provided with safety guards having a maximum exposure angle of 180 degrees and located between the operator and the wheel, 10,140. Again, missing guards on here. And another one, a repeat violation. No training on lockout tagout, $88,000 on that. Citation 2, item 2, training on a powered industrial truck. Citation 2, item 3, it was they were supposed to update some training for new hazards. That was $38,000. That was a repeat violation. And another repeat violation. So let me put this out there. There are a lot of online courses for forklifts. A lot of my competitors do online Zoom, Teams, whatever the platform is for forklifts. And that's great if you want to do like an awareness level thing, or let's say you're a pedestrian working around a warehouse, let's say, and you have forklifts. Great thing. We can do that, Zoom and everything else. However, the trainer signing off on the operator credentials has to actually see the person actually do the operation. So, in other words, you're training someone on a Class 7 forklift, also known as a LUL, an all-terrain forklift. You have to have that person, okay, here is a load. Pick up that load and put it on the truck, put it on the rack, drive around with that load, up and down, backwards. Oh, and by the way, I want to watch you inspect that on a checklist and do a pre-operational check on that. And tell me what you're going to look for. All this stuff is going to go in there. You can't do that on Zoom. Not easily, at least. I guess technically you can do it, but hey, hold the camera up and, it's a pain in the neck if you're going to do it that way. But they want to have something that you actually know how to do that. You actually have a skill. So we're talking a lot of money here for this. $367,000 and 513 violations. So it's spread over several things. This was a big thing on LinkedIn today on junkyards. I had a client, prospective client, that said, Jimmy, I have all different kinds of problems. We had a catastrophic injury here. I need a third person to come in here, third party to come in here and implement a safety plan. That was all a safety program. That was all part of the settlement with OSHA. Now we had to have this. So they had a real serious issue there. And I went in there, and my insurance company had referred the work over to us, which was good. I go in there, and it was just a nightmare. No, they were getting sued by a third party that came in there that fell. And when they were unloading stuff, they had OSHA violations. They had workers' comp issues. They were sending people out that were supposed to be doing workers' comp type stuff. And again, if you're on Safety FM, we're going overtime here. So pick this up on the Video Cancer podcast. So what ended up happening was I go in there. I said, okay, well, this is what we could do for you. We could do X. We could do, but you need a safety plan. You need job hazard analysis. You need a near miss good catch reporting program. You need this. And I scared the guy away. I said, you need to do all this stuff because this is what you got cited for not having. Number two, if something happens again, you're going to get whacked for repeat stuff. This is not what you want to do. This is not going to be a very, what's the word I'm looking for? A very good pathway to success. Because I'm not doing any of that. I'll close the place. Well, okay, great. Now the other thing is, and I said, well, what are you willing to do? He says, I ain't willing to do shit. Well, okay, I can't work with you then. Sorry. Didn't send him a bill because I didn't want any responsibility for what was going on there. No, none, no liabilities. So I didn't even send, I just said, look, this is just a consultation. We came in here, we told you what we need to get done. And that was it. I got a phone call from the insurance firm. So what happened? I said, I'm not the job for me. Now this is from Seattle. The U.S. Department of Labor obtained a consent judgment from the U.S. District Court, Western District of Washington, Tacoma, that includes a landmark injunction that permanently prevents the U.S. Postal Service from retaliating against employees at up to 59 locations in the state of Washington. So basically, this lawsuit's been going on for some time. Since 2020, it looks like. And essentially they were retaliating against people complaining about safety issues, which is against the law. You cannot do that. That's covered in 29 CFR 1977. Let's pull that up here. We'll do a share screen on that one. Because, again, this is what happens is this. People take the 40-hour course, or I'm saying the 30-hour outreach course, 10-hour outreach course, and even the standards courses on for occupational standards, and they just say real simple. There's whistleblower protection. That's what you got. Here's the paperwork, blah, blah, blah. They may read some of it. They may not read some of it. They may do that. And what happens? What ends up happening is you don't really realize what the regulatory background of any of this stuff is. And so, no, it may be, well, what's the difference? Well, I don't know. Just don't do anything stupid. That's great. For me, that was never enough with any of this stuff. So I pulled up the regulation right here. So we're familiar, usually you get, we're familiar with 1903, 1904, 1910, 1926, 1915, 1917, 1918, and 1928, which is for agriculture. We know all that. Rarely do we ever get into beyond that. So here we have Part 1977, discrimination against employees exercising rights under the William Steiger Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970. And this goes on here with this. So this is going on, a purpose and everything. General requirements. Section 11C provides in general that no person shall discharge or in any manner discriminate against any employee because the employee has filed a complaint under the Occupational Safety and Health Act. When they say act, they mean the OSH Act. Instituted or caused to be instituted any proceeding related to the act, testified or is about to testify in any proceeding under the act or related to the act, or exercise on his own behalf or on the behalf of others any right afforded by the act. Any employee who believes that he has been, and let's face it, was written in 70, so he or she, right, has been discriminated against in violation of 11C of the Act, may, within 30 days after such violation occurs, lodge a complaint with the Secretary of Labor alleging such violation. And then going on and on and on. And 11C specifically states that no person shall discharge or in any manner discriminate against any employee because the employee has exercised rights under the Act. Right, and it defines what that is and the purposes. But basically, let's say that you say, look, this isn't safe, and they retaliate against you. It doesn't even have to be a specific formal thing necessarily. They can go in and file a complaint against the company. Now, why do I point this out? All right, and you can go and read it. I mean, it's extensive. A lot of so what I do when I say to a client, right, because I'm a consultant or no, sometimes I get a direct hire. Okay, Jimmy, why are we doing such a thing? Because a lot of people say, well, unless it's a regulation, I'm not doing it. And F you, right? Fool you, right? F you. And how you come, that's why it's important to know the regulations, because right now, when I write up the thing, well, look, in accordance to 29 CFR, Part 1977, blah, 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 you're not allowed to retaliate against someone for doing this, this, and this, and this is the regulation. Oh, and by the way, I do a program now, and where we talk about whistleblower protections, and you could send along the U.S. Postal Service press release that we just read for you 10 minutes ago. You add that in there. Guess what? Now, so it's part of the law. Yeah, it is part of the law. So nobody likes that. One other thing that I have done in extreme situations at the client's direction, right? I would never do this, I would not do this just do it because it's very passive aggressive, is putting the thing on the OSHA penalties. Well, what do you mean the OSHA penalties? Well, no, a company last week was cited, blah, 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 for this, and this is what the proposed citation was, this is how much it was, at the same size company doing about the same type of work, blah, blah, blah. And this is what it is in here. So at the end of this, you have 5 or 6 things you're not doing. You're potentially putting yourself at this amount of money in proposed citations, right? And then we have the whole rationale on the reduction and things of that, and settlements. And I said, and let's say that someone was going to get hurt with all these. Because thanks to the website, and I think it needs to be updated, OSHA Safety Pays and OSHA. Hey, this is what the likely cost of that medical thing and the cost of that injury would be. And when you have that sort of thing, it's a real powerful tool for if you're dealing with people. Very powerful. And you say, well, Jim, what do you mean it's very powerful? It's very powerful because you're making it tangible. You're making the intangible tangible. You're not like, you get these people. OSHA says X, Y, and Z, therefore we're not going to do it. Guess what? That's not going to motivate. Well, it sounds like you're freaking coming up with it. That's what you're making it up. Well, if you could go and you could give it a direct citation in here, then it's good. One of the more common ones I give is this: competent persons. What kind of thing do we have with competent persons? Right. This is we're going through this repeatedly on these jobs. Competent persons have a lot of responsibilities. Competent persons are required for many, many, many OSHA standards. So, again, well, Jim, what about blah, 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 blah? You got to talk to the competent person. The competent person is responsible for that. And I'm not the designated competent person on this project. So why don't we and you go up and talk to the competent person on this and see what they're going to do, how they're going to handle it. It's the way it is. We had one job where somebody, real nice guy, designated competent person. However, he got his competent person training 20 years prior. And this was in fall protection. And what did they have when they gave him the competent person the fall protection training? What did they not have? Leading edge lanyards. I'm sure that they had them, not that popular, not that well known. Now the ANSI 357 scheme has completely changed on that. So, and we could do that training for you. But essentially, again, many, many years out of date, this guy had everything. Right. And I went in there and I said, look, this has got to be done. This has got to be done. This is, real. And I, one-on-one, I'm talking to him and he said, look, I'm not talking to you alone. Safety guy. I said, okay, bring someone else along. So he brought someone else along. And I said, look, you got to have leading edge lanyards. You got to have this, you got to have that, and blah, blah, blah. Well, show me. And I showed him his coworker, his quote unquote witness, started going off on me. And he says, well, who's responsible for this? I said, your competent person is responsible for this right here. I'm trying to educate this person. And this guy's arguing and everything else. Oh, you're out to get us. You're saying you. I said, no, we're trying to protect you from blah, blah, blah. And then I said, I tell you what, I'm going to break open the video. Right. I'm going to show you the video of what happens on a leading edge lanyard. And he says, okay, let me show you the video. And on a leading edge, non-leading edge lanyard over an edge, the lanyard breaks. I said, that's what you're doing here. Well, that's what could happen here with the lanyard breaking. And he says, Jimmy, thanks for letting me know. And then the other guys started to argue. Oh, no, that's just on the YouTube, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, it's from Miller, right? Honeywell Miller. So, again, the competent person, is responsible for things. Why am I saying this? How you manage the job is how you manage it. And you have to be very specific what people's jobs are, what the regulations are, and everything else when you're communicating. Because a lot of companies, they will not listen to you. Well, the competent person, the safety guy says X, Y, and Z. Show them the regulation. They don't believe you on the no. Say, look, you can't. There's whistleblower protections. Here's the law. Here it is. Now, what's funny here with this, and it's sad, getting back to what we were talking about at the beginning with the assassination attempt. Right. So what was coming on, and I don't think this is going to hold water, was, well, there's an incline on the roof. Right. So we couldn't do that. I think that was just said somewhere out there in the background. I have a hard time in believing that someone actually said that. Right. If they did, then they did. I'm wrong. Okay. But I find a hard time. We have also here, under laws and regulations, here, and we're going to go other, and I'm going to do your share screen here. Hold on. We'll get to the other program eventually, Jay Allen. I know. Big learning curve here. We have here the basic program elements for, right? Yeah, let me go back here. Basic program elements for federal employee occupational safety and health programs and related matters. Not too many people picked this up when they started talking about not being able to go on the roof and blah, blah, blah. Okay. This all goes back to 29 CFR, Department of Labor, Part 1960. Basic program elements for federal employee occupational safety and health programs and related matters. I would have not believed that this was like this. This would actually become relevant in this whole thing here with this whole assassination thing with the sloped roofs, allegedly. I don't believe it that someone would say that. So let's go through this one here. Section 19 of the OSH Act contains special provisions to ensure safe and healthful working conditions for federal employees. Under that section, it is the responsibility of the head of each federal agency to establish and maintain an effective and comprehensive occupational safety and health program, which is consistent with the standards promulgated under Section 6 of the Act. The Secretary of Labor, or the Secretary under Section 19, is to report to the President certain evaluations, recommendations with respect to the programs of the various agencies. Executive Order 12-12196, Occupational Safety and Health Programs for Federal Employees, issued February 26, 1980, prescribes additional responsibilities for the head of the agencies, the Secretary, and the General Services Administration. Among other duties, the Secretary is required to issue basic program elements in accordance with which the heads of the agency shall operate their safety and health programs. Going on and on and on. Basically, where does it say down here? Executive order, right, that we just said, and these basic program elements apply to all agencies of the executive branch, including Secret Service, right? They apply to all federal employees. They apply to all working conditions of federal employees, except those involving uniquely military equipment, systems, and operations, right? And no provision of the executive order is going to relieve any private employer, including federal contractors or their employees, or any rights, responsibilities. Federal employees who work in establishments of private employers are covered by their agency's occupational safety and health programs. Now, if I was the senators today, or the Congress people, lower house, right, the House of Representatives, questioning things, one of the things I will look at is, well, you're saying that it was unsafe for and this goes on and on, for the Secret Service to go on a sloped roof. Well, where is it in your safety plan that says that? So each agency shall comply with all occupational safety and health standards issued under Section 6 of the Act, or with alternative standards issued pursuant to this Act, in complying with Section 6 standards. An agency may, upon prior notification to the Secretary, prescribe and enforce more stringent permissible exposure limit levels or threshold limit values, may require more frequent monitoring and going up, talking about industrial hygiene here. So that's basically what it comes down to, is that they are required to obey federal law and everything else. Now, what I am going to do, I'm going to, just for the heck of it, I'm going to go to commercial break. And what I'm going to do is, I know we're way out here. I'm going to go to our friends in here and see if the civil, let's see, well, let me back up. If that's the policy of that slope roofs, there should be something in writing. or general duty clause, something like that. Again, why safety is important, right? With that, now let's see if we could Google health and safety requirements of the Secret Service. I'm probably going to have them showed up here, right? So here we have Security Rule Guidance Manual. Here, and some stuff came up about the stuff. Let's go to commercial break here, and we're going to come back to that. Yeah.
In the professional safety community, communication and planning are just a few keys to your program's success. The question many practitioners have is, where do I start? Dr. Jayallen, the creator of the Safety FM platform and host of the Rated R Safety Show, has built a global foundation to help you along the way. Go to safetyfm.com and listen to some of the industry's best and most involved professionals, including Blaine Hoffman with the Safety Pro, Sam Goodman with the Hop Nerd, Sheldon Primus with the Safety Consultant, JIMPOESL with Safety Wars, Emily Elrod with Unapologetically Bold, and many others. As individuals, we can do great things, but as a team, we become amazing. Dial into safetyfm.com today and surround yourself with a powerful force of knowledge and support.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call JIMPOESL at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Want to avoid hefty OSHA fines and keep your team safe? Let's dive into the General Duty Clause. The General Duty Clause, Section 5(a)(1) of the OSHA Act of 1970, is a catch-all rule to cover unregulated hazards. Employers must keep workplaces free from recognized dangers that could cause death or serious harm. For OSHA to cite you under the General Duty Clause, they must prove the following 4 things. 1. The employer failed to render its workplace free of a hazard. 2. An employee was exposed to that hazard. 3. That hazard was causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm. And 4. Feasible means exist to free the workplace of the hazard. Employees aren't off the hook either. Section 5(b) mandates they follow all safety standards. Both employers and employees must work together to maintain a safe work environment. Examples: think lifting above shoulder height repeatedly, or working without proper support. Stay proactive. Monitor work areas, apply the 4-part test, and you'll prevent those nasty citations and keep everyone safe. Need help? And more information? Contact JIMPOESL and the Safety Wars team to help you prevent workplace incidents, conduct safety audits and training. Contact the Safety Wars team at jim@safetywars.com or 845-269-5772. Visit us on the web at www.safetywars.com. Let's build a safer workplace together.
Okay, that's one of our new commercials. We have a whole bunch of stuff coming out here and little snippets and everything else we're getting together here. So now, as far as I know, and as far as I can tell, there's nothing posted online as far as Secret Service, as far as safety issues and everything. I mean, as far as OSHA protections or whatever they call it for themselves. So that's a very good question. I don't think that question has been asked here with that. So let's see what else is going on here. We'll do one more story from this. Let's do a share screen on this one. Hold on. U.S. Department of Labor finds one of the largest makers of reclaimed rubber flooring expose Austin area employees to willful serious safety violations. An inspection of a certain company by OSHA in January 2024 found more than a dozen safety and health violations. Investigators discovered the company made employees stand on forklift elevated tines. Those are the forks, tines. I think me and this person who wrote this are like the only people. Chandra Radu, we're like the only people that actually use the right words here, and words mean things. Right? Forklifts elevated times failed to prevent small fires fueled by an improper buildup of combustible dust and permitted potentially explosive atmospheres to exist. Lacked safe areas for welding and expose employees to slip, trip, and fall hazards. And going on and on and on. I mean, 299,000. Let's see what they have. Do they have with this? Hold on. Okay, they do not post the report here. So what does it come down to, which is unusual? They normally do. So here we have tines, right? You have stuff stand on the tines. Now, they do make baskets for that to raise and lower people. I would never go on one personally, but they make it. Now, the thing is that that you can't just pick that up and do it. That has to be signed off by someone, preferably someone from the manufacturer on that equipment that you're allowed to use that kind of thing. And it has to be evaluated. You have to have procedures for that. I mean, I can tell you horror stories. I used to work in a warehouse. Me and my brother, and they had one of these things. I could tell you, hey, there are guys up there 20 foot in the air, and they're driving around with the guys all, elevated up in there, just to bust their chops. That's just all of them. So that has to be evaluated. That has to be approved and everything else. Now, combustible dust, that has been really in the news a lot over the last 10 or 15 years. OSHA, that's one of their focus areas is after a series of explosions. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate, but I'm sure someone on YouTube has it out there where you have a dust, where you have dust, when it's very ground to a very fine powder, becomes explosive. Usually with a combustible dust fire, dust is allowed to accumulate somewhere, and there's some type of initiating event. An initiating event could be a breeze, vibration, or earthquake, another explosion. And what happens is the dust filters on down from wherever it is, usually from an elevation, and it ignites. And that's where you have a problem, with that. And that's where you get the combustible dust. Now, there's also, especially, they're not saying anything here, but it's like welding was mentioned here. So I'm imagining it was a metal dust that they were dealing with, less likely with that. Now, you're going to say, well, metal's not flammable. Metal is very flammable. Not only those magnesium sticks that are out there for fireworks and things of that nature, but fireworks, they have metals in them, right? We've seen that, especially around the 4th of July, or at the end of every Boulder's home game, right? They have fireworks. So if we look under fireworks ingredients here, what do we have? Black powder, right, is one of them. Hundreds of chemical formulas, right, and everything else. So it's basically black powder ground right into it. And how do we add color to it? Is they add different metals and different other things in there to make it with a color, right? Different, and that's basically the way it comes down to. They don't like to advertise this stuff on the internet. So what do they use? Aluminum, magnesium, titanium with that. Now, what's another way? Have you ever seen the space shuttle when it used to take off? They had the solid rocket boosters. Well, the solid rocket booster, they had the booster separation motors. Two materials, ammonium perchlorate and aluminum, that are ground into a fine powder. I'm not going to tell you how they do it. So, and they put them together with a binder, and they put them into, let's say, a bread mold. They pour it different shapes towards the end, get different amount. All this stuff goes in there. So metal powders are very, very flammable with that, and we'll leave it at that. Now, welding, lack safe areas for welding. What do you need a safe area for welding? You're usually going to need some type of a welding curtain. You may need a hot work program. You need cleanliness. You're going to need perhaps a fire watch, anything like that. And we have exposed employees to slip, trips, and fall hazards as walking and working surfaces. Allowed untrained workers to operate forklifts. Again, you got to have training. That's 1910-178. Failed to ensure machines have required safety guards. All that stuff goes into that. So, again, preparation. I mean, $300,000 in violations here. I don't know. You just shake your head. I don't know what else to say. That's all I have here for tonight. It is what it is, with all this stuff. Want to thank you for bearing with me with some of the technical challenges I've had here today. Again, that thing, you come in here, you're like, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Everything's an issue. Everything reset itself because of Friday. I wasn't prepared for that. My fault. But we got through it. We finished well, which is usually what we do here on Safety Wars. I wanted to thank everybody for your support. Things are calming down here a lot. We're on many different social media platforms here: LinkedIn, Facebook. You can look us up under my name, JIMPOESL, P as in Peter, O-E, S as in Sam, L as in Larry, or Safety Wars. So you can do LinkedIn, Safety Wars, or JIMPOESL, easier with my last name, right? On YouTube, also JIMPOESL. Like and share. We're going to be releasing a whole series of videos that we've been working on. YouTube style videos and shorts. You're going to be hearing them on here. If I remember to bring the ship to where I'm going tomorrow, I got them all downloaded here. And we are going to go and see you tomorrow. So for Safety Wars, this is JIMPOESL, and we're going to do our outro here. And
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily